bike, you probably weren't very good at that either.
No, I probably wasn't. So,
He's
Just
still
like
not.
hosting.
listen, I can ride like in a straight line for like 4 to 5 seconds now. It's pretty impressive. I'll have to show you sometime. But all right, I'm gonna start in five, four, three. What is up, everybody? This is the LOLA crew here with episode 169. We are going to be talking about patch 7.24 and playing Taric today. I am your host for the first time, Alec, aka Wormlax, and I'm joined by two lovely counterparts today. First, we've got Wise Papa Smurf, or Blake. How you
All
doing,
right,
man?
I'm gonna go ahead. Let's just cut right there. We're gonna let that be take one, and I think we can do better on take two.
I was pretty happy with it. I was going for over
No, you need
energetic
to
and
be like
cheesy.
jazzed though, because this is like the opening, and it's like, "Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We're all excited." You started there, and then you drop down into the neutral. I am neither excited nor disappointed in what I have to tell you.
You can do that after you've hosted like 100 episodes. Then you can just not give a shit, and it's fine. But you can't do it on your first one. The first one, you got to give it your all.
Yeah, you gotta give it your all, man. You gotta go hard.
All
In
right.
fact, we should leave this in the show just so everybody knows how well you progressed in like a minute and a half.
All right.
Exactly.
Perfect. All right. I'm gonna restart. Do another
All right,
countdown. Ready?
take two. Here we go.
Five, four, three. What is up, everybody? It is your host, Alec, aka Wormlax. We're here with episode 164. I'm joined by two beautiful men today to host with me. I've got Wise Papa Smurf, aka Blake. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. That was way better.
I'm happy. I'm happy you liked it. And in the other corner, we also have the genius 200 IQ Aiden or Frost. How are you doing, man?
Pretty good. It's episode 169 instead of 164. But other than that, you did awesome.
God damn it. I'm just gonna
You got
blame
confused with patch 7.24.
lots of
hey,
numbers.
Oh God, I was drinking root beer. That burned.
other than that, though, that was way better.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
it was
glad.
great, except the misinformation. It was really good.
This is 2017. Misinformation is just abound. Net neutrality is dead. We can't get anything right around here. We're bound to make mistakes if we can't even load the internet, right?
Oh God,
The
I
audio
think
editors are really good. They'll just replace your like intro from the last one. They'll cut it up and it'll be great.
God damn it. I literally just swallowed IBC root beer with my lungs.
There is a
Oh,
full perfect intro somewhere in all those sound bites.
yeah. I think you just combine all of them together in order, and that's what it is right there.
Perfect,
Mhm.
perfect. Well, we are still in preseason, but we've got a new patch coming out. But maybe we want to talk a little bit about how we're feeling about preseason since it's been what? Has it been 2 months now since preseason? Or no, only a
It's been
month.
2 weeks.
It hasn't been 2 weeks. It's been more than 2 weeks. It's been a month, right?
I don't think so. I think it ended like mid-November, didn't it?
It was like early November. Season ended like what was
November
it?
8th. It was on
November
my
8th.
son's birthday.
So 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Split
so
the
it's
difference.
almost a month. So Aiden, what do you think? What are you thinking about the preseason?
I like it. I mean, I like changing the meta. I like being able to theory craft new things. I feel like if you're a creative person, this is the best time for League of Legends every single year because you can do whatever and maybe win games. Like you can play fucking kleptomancy, anything, any champion, anywhere, and you can maybe win. You'll think it's good. That being said, I know a lot of people who do not like it because maybe they're less creative or they don't want to relearn aspects of the game, which I completely understand. But hey, that's why we're here. We're here to help with that, hopefully.
Right, we're gonna give you the tools you need to do your own theory crafting. What do you think, Blake? How are you liking the preseason?
As a grumpy
Old
old
man.
uncreative sheep that just likes following, builds that I've memorized. No, it's all right. Here's the thing. I I am old and tired enough that I hate it when the game is in a state of being broken, right? And
Hmm.
I feel like the first preseason patch, as it is every year, was super broken, right?
Yeah.
I think that they've kind of done enough tweaks with that I just don't feel like everything is terrible anymore. So I'm enjoying it more this patch than I did last patch. I do like the new runes and masteries. I still feel like they probably need some tweaking, but not for power, but more for like individuality, right? Because there are some
Yeah.
runes that I think like, why would you ever take that one when this one is on the table?
Fleet footwork.
Sure. Like, why would you take fleet footwork
When press the
when
attack, because every
when
single
press the
character
attack?
who wants to run fleet footwork runs press the attack, but press the attack's better, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Or lethal tempo. Like
Yeah.
anybody who wants lethal tempo probably also wants press the attack.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, and so you have a clear winner in that tree, and those things aren't distinguished from each other because press the attack is good with attack speed. Lethal tempo is attack speed.
Yeah.
You know, there's like, what's the thing here? What am I? You know, why would I ever pick option B?
Yeah. It's
You know,
really it really feels like, especially that precision tree is just very linear, and that's pretty much all ADCs.
yeah. So I don't know. Once they get kind of those things figured out, and like I said, that one is the kind of the biggest offender of the oddly duplicative. But you know, a couple of the other ones like Comet and Airy, and you know things like that, they seem like they're really about the same thing. Uh, Electrocute feels kind of lackluster.
It feels like it's very similar to Dark Harvest. It's like, hey, if you can't use Dark Harvest, you're going to use Electrocute. But if you can use both of them, then you're going to take Dark Harvest every single time.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They.
so it's strange. I mean, I think they're gonna work a lot of that out because they've already started making moves on it. But like the real problem is what trees they're in because they're in trees with the same things. Like, but
Mhm.
if you moved like, you know, the press the attack or something to a different tree and then Dark Harvest to switch or something, then it would make you'd have like actual meaningful choices, but that still
Mhm.
doesn't solve the problem because you'd still take Dark Harvest if you're going to take it instead of Electrocute, regardless of what tree it's in, unless you like really synergize with secondary runes or something. But I don't know. That's just spitballing garbage. But I have to say, like, I think it is better than it was. I don't find the game painful to play,
Mhm.
and I have adjusted to everybody being made out of paper.
That's
Mhm.
the
I
biggest
love
thing
that.
I think is that, like, I mean, we're seeing the high like poke champs coming into meta again with the, especially with Comet being so strong. It's like everyone has lower MR in armor than they did before because of base runes and all that. So it's like everyone is susceptible to these really high damage poke champions, and you're seeing stuff like Xerath getting banned out at like All Stars. It's like crazy to see these champions come back into play, and it's kind of fun. And I feel like every champion is a little bit higher on the tier list than they were before. Like the I feel like the floor of the tier list has been raised for every single champion.
Hey, if every champion was higher on the tier list, wouldn't they all be in the exact same
Well,
position on
that's
the tier
why
list?
that's why I said the floor of the tier list has been raised. So it's like those bottom even like we're getting closer to a point where every champion is playable. It's like Modern Warfare 2. Everything was broken, so it wasn't totally broken, right?
No, I'm
There's no
just
F
I'm
tier
just
anymore.
busting your hey, I'm
Yeah.
just busting your balls, really. I understood exactly what you said.
Yeah.
But
Dude, there's some people who fucking hate that there's like no magic resistor armor like early game anymore. I love it. It's like it makes the game so much fun. I guess if you're like maybe like a support player or like a
nope, I
uh,
love it.
I like okay. The only thing I don't love about it is like that makes tanks good because tanks want to build these stats, and then they're the only ones with the stats. But like
Yeah.
other than that, man, having like a faster game where it's like way more action packed and you do more damage, that's so good for a game like League, in my opinion. But people hate it.
The only place I'm having like on the fence about it is like you said, that support area where I think overall it's better because it makes like, if you're a poke support, you can poke people out, but at the same time, if you're an all-in support, if you catch someone who's a poke, like they're going to be able to die. They don't have as much resistances. So I think it's in a pretty good spot right now, but maybe
Um,
they need to tweak it a little bit.
if I may, I have a well-reasoned counterpoint. Shut the fuck up, both of you, before Riot figures out what they have done, and I
Mhm.
can't, keep abusing this. So,
All right, lips are sealed. And we'll start talking about what they want to do to try to change that around with getting to the patch 7.24.
Was that a segue?
that
That
was a
was a segue.
seamless transition.
Yeah.
His intros are kind of shit, but the segues.
Our
You
first time
know,
host has been practicing.
I start
Yeah.
off strong, slow, but it just takes
You-
the train's got to get going.
I start off strong, and then I lie about how I started off.
I meant to say I start off slow. I once again am just tripping over my own words and proving myself wrong as I say the things I say. It's a good
Gets the mark of a
combination.
quality host.
You would know.
So-
I appreciate
I
that
do.
input.
I do know. I've been doing that. 200 episodes of lies right here. Don't
All right.
worry about it.
So first on the docket, and I think we can do this one pretty fast, is Aurelion Sol. He got a cooldown buff to his ultimate. It got lowered at all ranks. 110 seconds at level 6, 90 seconds at level 11, and 70 seconds at level 16. So a nice little buff for him. I don't think it's game changing.
Almost all these changes aren't game changing. Like honestly, it might even just be worth like talking about like the ones that we find interesting. Like if we all wanted to like
Okay.
go one by one and then
I
bring
mean,
them up.
I would agree with that. I
Okay.
think-
Because there's also two different patch notes because they also did a B
Yeah.
patch. Blake, I'm not sure if you've seen that.
Yeah, I saw the B patch.
Yeah, so like if we all like wanted to like go one by one and bring up something that we wanted like found interesting until we
Oh
run out
wait,
of
are
them.
you guys on the A patch?
We're well, like we can do both together. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So
I feel like that's
one that I really actually do want to talk about, and it's actually right after Sol, is Bard's meat damage going up. Because we just talked about that everyone has lower stats, like armor and MR stats early, and Bard is already a very potent early game champion with his autos. I feel like this will be a nice little buff for him.
I mean that HP regen change is actually huge. People, I feel like a lot of casual players look over HP regen and mana regen way too much. They buffed his HP regen by 2.1 per 5 seconds, which equals 24 health per minute. Getting an extra 24 health per minute in lane is crazy. Like that seems like that's like something that people look over way too much. Like we'll see that with like base AD changes and stuff like in the B patch. But one change that I want, like, unless you guys had anything else to say about Bard, I think the
Yeah,
beat damage.
I
is,
actually do. I
yeah.
do want to touch Bard a little bit. Okay, so the thing about Bard is he didn't need any of this.
No. Yeah.
He's been good in his niche for as long as like since his probably third or fourth buff after his release.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he started off hot shit and he was terrible. And then they played with his Q a little bit. And then they bumped up all of his base stats so he could actually roam properly and not die the second he got there. And from pretty much that point forward, he was good.
Yeah.
He was strong. And then the last buff before this one, like when they changed all of his meeps and his meep scalings, that was a huge buff, which he was already good, and now he's just better.
Yeah.
And then now this. And I don't like none of this is really necessary. But at the same time, Bard is a really, really, really hard champion to play well.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so if you want to take advantage of the state that Bard is in right now, you will need to play like a lot of Bard. And if I, for example, have played a lot of Bard, and when I haven't played Bard in the last couple of months because I've been trying to max out other champions to rank 7. And whenever I go back to playing Bard, I feel like I'm terrible with him because it takes that many games to develop skill and the feeling of how to play that champion, how to thread stuff through properly, and how to edge out your ults properly, and just do shit like that and make plays with him.
Yeah.
Don't just pick this guy up because you think he's strong. Pick him, and he is, I think. Pick him up because you want to devote a ton of time playing to him, and now that he's been buffed to all high hell, you know that time you're putting in is actually going to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this
I
is,
agree.
this is one of those things I also kind of feel like this is going to get reverted in some way, shape, or form as soon as the competitive season starts, because I think a lot of supports will end up playing Bard.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Bard can dish out a lot of damage, and this like extra damage in the early game, like 10 damage means a lot in the first early levels, and I really he's just so fun to play, honestly. And with a high skill cap, like you'll see him come out and pro play a lot because that ultimate is game changing, and like in lower tiers, that ultimate can really like you can end up screwing your team over a lot. But in a competitive scene, like they're gonna have it be advantageous to them more often than not. So if Bard, the rest of his stats are strong, and he has an ultimate that can game changing based on the crowd control it provides, like that can really easily get out of hand.
I agree.
All right. There is one champion that I want to talk about. Leona has been real strong in the preseason with the aftershock stuff.
Mhm.
And she's always done a lot of damage, and aftershock adds more to that and is good. So in the beginning of the patch, they hit Leona's W damage, which makes a lot of sense because that damage, it felt real high, right? Given
Mm-hmm.
that she also gets aftershock and she also gets everything else, and she was always a champion that if she properly executed her kit on you, you were almost dead anyway.
Yep.
And to add aftershock to that means that you actually just are dead. So I get that would need to be adjusted to return her to the state of you're almost dead or else it's broken. But they took good chunk of damage off of her shield, like 20 damage off of her shield explosion. And then in 724B, they hit her again and they took like 30 damage off of her shield bash.
Yeah, they
I
took.
think it's too much.
I think it is too. Honestly, I didn't think she was that strong. That
I mean,
she
Yeah.
needed
she's the
back-to-back
highest win rate
nerfs.
support.
Yeah, I think she definitely needed a nerf. I'm not sure the extra Q damage nerf was needed. Like the W is really strong, so I can definitely see that with the aftershock
Okay,
like needing a nerf. But
well, hold up. She's the highest win rate support at 54%,
It's a pretty high
right?
number.
Sure it is, but that she also it dips to below 50% in the late game if the game goes over 40 minutes. Most of the
Mhm.
games aren't, but that being said, Janna has been at that for like the entire season.
Mhm.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like 54% is not unheard of with a support.
Right.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't know. My main problem with it is that it now forces her to go aftershock. Like
yeah.
it's literally, hey, we took this damage off because with aftershock it was too much. Well, now that you don't have the damage, you have to go aftershock. Like, because that's the reason they nerfed it. Whereas, like, I like experimenting with characters like Leona, and we'll talk about it later, Taric, going press the attack, and then having your AD carry go one of the other runes instead of press the attack. Because you
Interesting.
press the attack, you pop it, and then you get 12% bonus damage for everyone who hits that
Mm-hmm.
target, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Leona, someone who can go auto Q auto, can proc it immediately, and then her AD carry can just do the 12% bonus. So I like trying shit like that, but now I feel like I'm forced to go aftershock because they nerfed her because of aftershock.
Mm-hmm.
It feels dumb to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you've brought up a good point in that it like typecasts you.
Yeah.
Because like you can't execute the electrocute deal, the
Mhm.
3 hits like former Thunderlord may still be an option on her if you really were focused on damage. then you lose too many other things out of the resolve tree.
Yeah.
Like you want to take that resolve tree with her.
Hmm.
Yeah, it does feel like a bad path to take that Riot is like adding these keystones and they're like pushing certain champions into the limelight, and then instead of like maybe nerf the champions some, but I feel like maybe the keystones themselves should be worked on more before the champions, because otherwise, like you said, it gets them stuck in, well, now she needs Aftershock to get that extra damage. So
Well,
if you
okay,
change Aftershock instead of her, maybe you could still,
well, okay, but to be fair though, nobody else was really an abuse case with Aftershock. I
true.
haven't like been like, oh god, another Aftershock support.
True,
Hmm.
You know what
true.
I mean? So is she the problem or is Aftershock the problem? And then that being said, um, she's a champion that now that I put a little bit more thought into it, it makes sense she's never going to go anything but Aftershock because she wouldn't go anything but Aftershock. You want everything in the resolve tree too much.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the optimal. You're always going to pick that anyway, regardless.
Hmm.
So, I mean, even if it was like, the problem is if it was a shitty like rune, Leona would just be shitty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't
Because
like
that's what she's
options
gonna
being
pick,
limited.
even if it sucks, because it's the one that best synergizes with what she does.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to get at? It's like the equivalent of like, say Annie. Say they're like, Annie's doing too much damage because of Airy or Electrocute, right? So we're
Yeah.
gonna nerf Annie's Q damage. Where it's like me as a player who likes to run Predator Annie to roam bottom. Well, now I can't run Predator because I don't have the damage like that I normally had because they had to nerf the damage for people who used Electrocute. So now I can't run my own Master even though it wasn't a problem. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I get your point. But Leona is not. She doesn't have the flexibility that Annie has.
I mean, I think press the attack is a viable option completely.
I think you're losing too many of the other sub points in the resolve tree.
It's
like
the equivalent of
additional
running
armor and
Fervor,
shit.
and Fervor was the best thing
Mhm.
to run on Leona last patch.
I
I think it has a high win rate also, in my defense.
Okay. I mean, I don't
think
know, man.
Leona and Taric were the only two supports who could run it. I felt like it was a unique thing. It's like the equivalent of running heal on your support. You know what I
Do
mean?
you know
Like
that
where you put.
I'm looking at champion.gg on her, and nobody's doing according to this what you're suggesting.
Yeah,
But
I'm like,
I don't really have a problem with that because I think it's an interesting concept. But it's more that I'm surprised that the most frequent rune on her is Grasp of the Undying.
people
Who
are
the
bad. And
fuck
there's a
is
lot of bad
playing
players.
Grasp?
That's
in Plat?
odd.
This is Plat Plus.
I wonder if
Who
it's
the
a
fuck is playing
glitch.
Grasp on Leona more frequently than playing Aftershock?
That is surprising.
But like I just felt like I wouldn't say it was the optimal choice to go press the attack, but say you have Jin. Jin doesn't run press the attack ever, right?
Right.
And press the attack, I think, is the best mastery in the game currently. So
Yeah.
hey, I have a Jin who runs Airy or Comet. Well, if I can press the attack for him, then we do 12% more damage.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
gonna equal more damage than Aftershock.
Yeah, I just felt like it was
Sure.
cool having scenarios like that. Like,
Yeah.
Well, it is, except those are like niche.
oh, I
Like,
completely
super
agree, but I feel like
duper
that's the cool part
niche.
of the game.
Yeah, but do you let Leona be fucking busted so
No,
she
of
can
course
have
not.
like the flexibility of being able to do a weird thing in certain situations when you're the only guy that does that?
No, I'm just saying, like, I think just nerfing her straight up damage and not compensating anything else, being like, hey, her damage is too much, we're gonna nerf all of her damage, instead of saying, hey, let's nerf her damage, but say maybe lower the cooldown of something instead.
Mm-hmm.
To like maybe keep her from abusing one thing, but keep her actually still meta.
Okay, I got one for you guys. Like, I think we've kind of beaten Leona to death. So the other bot lane champ that I thought was really interesting, the nerf that they chose to do in the B patch is Misfortune.
Oh, okay, I wasn't ready for that.
Why? What did you think I was gonna say?
I'm gonna say Ezreal. What the fuck?
Oh, Ezreal. Well, that was the A patch.
Talk about him after.
They've nerfed him in B patch as well.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
They
yeah.
nerfed the fuck out of him in B
That
patch.
is a mallet. Wow. Okay.
Dude,
Both of those then. We'll do both of them. Because
Let's just talk about bot lane.
right. They just fucking blackjacked Israel. Okay.
Crazy.
So anyway, Misfortune though first. Make It Rain was the target. And I thought that was a little bizarre for me. Because Make It Rain, the cooldown, is not what makes Misfortune OP.
Yeah,
Like right now, what makes Misfortune OP is lethality and bounce damage and Make It Rain's ability to make sure that a meteor hits. Because if I
Mhm.
nick you with Make It Rain, you're going to get a comet in the face.
If anything, that tells me that they want to try to get rid of support Misfortune.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind that either, but I feel like it is a weird thing to change. When people are like, fuck, I
Yeah.
hate laning against Misfortune. It's because she hits a random Q, then you lose 60% of your HP.
right. I definitely am just like really confused about what are they thinking with Make It Rain. Like I can see like okay, it's kind of annoying when she's running Airy or Comment, like you just throw the Make It Rain like at random times to get that poke damage out. But I really don't think that's like you said, it's not the problem with MF. The problem with
Well,
MF
okay,
is
so
one bounce and you lose like half your health with lethality.
exactly. And the bigger problem with Make It Rain is balanced around the fact that it costs a dickload of mana.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have an ability that really supplements mana except like I guess like Transcendence or something. But you know, your ability to use mana like that's gonna hurt no matter what. Like that's how it's balanced around. The cooldown, adding 4 seconds to down to 0 at max level, like difference, doesn't really take a lot off her power budget. I don't really feel like that does anything. If anything, too much of her power budget is tied into her Q.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Ezreal's seamless transition. That's how it's done, dude. Take notes.
Yeah, of
Writing them
which they
down right
reverted
now.
his.
Can you hear me typing? This is
Yeah, I
typing,
hear
I
it.
swear. Yeah.
That's good. You'll be better at this in like no time.
They reverted Ezreal's Q change from patch 7.17 or something like that, where it was changed from 1.180 to 1.25, which I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then in the B patch, they're like, nah, fuck Ezreal, and they changed his attack speed growth from 2.8 to 1.5, meaning at level 18 he loses 22.1% attack speed, which is a gross amount. Like that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, as
Well, and see, like Ezreal didn't build a lot of attack speed items. Like
Yeah.
you
right,
just didn't because you didn't want to. Like most of your
right.
damage was T-Force procs and like threading and auto attacks, right? In your
Hmm.
completed build, your only attack speed item generally was like Bork if you chose to build it.
Yeah,
So the fact that Ezreal is just gonna lose, either he's gonna lose so much attack speed that it's gonna hurt the hell out of his late game, or he's gonna lose so much attack speed that he's gonna have to give up an item for attack speed.
see, that's the thing. You really can't, with an Ezreal build, justify building an attack speed item. So
No,
this
because you
attack
don't.
speed is just
Yeah,
gone. Like you
yeah,
don't make
you
up for
don't
this.
need crit. Like
Yeah,
crit does you no good.
right.
And so, okay, so I'm gonna get an attack speed crit item and have nothing to synergize it with.
It's so weird. It's like, why don't, like, I understand nerfing is Q, right? Like, hey, poke is really annoying. We talked about that earlier. But
Mhm.
like nerfing his attack speed is almost like, hey, we're gonna make you go the poke build though.
Right,
Like,
yeah. Like
excuse me?
I've been playing Ezreal for a long time. Like he's one of my go-to for ADC, and I played him through like when he was kind of shit last season, and then they were like, "Oh, he kind of needs some buffs," and then everyone's like, "Hey, look at this, Ezreal can jungle," and I'm still playing him in bot lane. Like I still love my Ezreal bot lane, and then they like all of a sudden this preseason rolls around and he's really strong, and I'm having a good time, but I understand that he's gonna get nerfed in the future. But then instead of, okay, maybe kleptomancy is too strong with the amount of gold and stats you get from all the different potions and everything you get from it, instead of looking at that, they go, Ezreal, just cut everything off. Like, take away his Q damage. Alright, it may have been a little bit much. Poke is really strong right now. Take away his attack speed. Wait, what? attack speed. This is not the problem with Ezreal, I don't think. And I think I feel like sometimes Riot has like a backwards mentality with what kind of stuff they nerf with what's strong about a champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like the problem with Klepto is its internal cooldown is too low.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get stuff on Klepto so quickly that it's ridiculous. It is actually a concern whether you have enough open inventory slots
Yeah.
when you play Klepto. That should not be the way it is. I would prefer Kleptomancy to have like even like a 45-second cooldown and just give you better shit
Hmm.
whenever you use it. You know what I mean? Like step up all the rewards a little bit, but make it a lot rarer.
It feels like, yeah, it feels like at some points during the game when you're using Klepto on certain characters, you're not even paying attention to the items you get.
Yeah, no, you're not. You're just like,
You're just
oh my
getting shit, and it's
oh
just
shit,
worth
my
it.
inventory's full. You
Yeah,
know.
I understand what you mean. Like even so, on average, it procs 18% of the time. Someone did the math on it, right? You get something
Hmm.
18% of the time, and it's on a 10-second cooldown. So say every 5 attacks, 20%, right? If you
Hmm.
had it say that exact amount, but like say extended to 60 seconds. So like you proc it every 60 second, or you proc it every 50 seconds, but you get something guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be a way better way to manage it, because then you proc it and then you're like, oh, I got this item, I'm going to use this X way, rather than proc it every 10 seconds and you're like, oh, I didn't even notice I had 3 control awards, 2 sacks of gold, and some
Yeah.
elixirs. Like,
Yeah, I have
gee.
literally had to just consume sacks of gold because I realized my inventory was full. Or
Yes.
like burn an elixir because, well, my inventory's full and I want to be able to keep using this ability.
Hmm.
Right? It's just too much and it doesn't need to be that much. And I think that would balance out Ezreal because he would go back to being like what he's kind of supposed to be.
Right.
And you could even give better shit because it's on like a longer turn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like,
You know, and that to me would be a lot more fun. I'm like, oh, sweet, I got an on-demand power spike that I can just pop here. That'll be fun.
yeah, it's such an odd choice from them to be like, yes, we need to nerf Ezreal because Kleptomancy is so strong. Like, you just got Ezreal
But
back.
here's
Like,
the thing,
take
like,
some damage off his Q, but not as much, and don't take away his attack speed, and maybe balance Kleptomancy a little bit, and all of a sudden Ezreal is balanced again.
but I don't feel like kleptomancy is broken,
I don't
and
either.
that may be a controversial opinion that I hold. I don't know, but I don't feel like kleptomancy is in that bad a spot. Like you look at champions that use it, like Gangplank.
Yeah.
His win rate is actually worse with kleptomancy than it is with some of the other runes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so clearly kleptomancy isn't the problem because he's got an on-demand kleptomancy in his rune.
Hmm.
Or you can't miss it. You click on somebody with Q. That's
Yeah.
klepto,
And see,
right?
that's funny that his win rate is down because if you had asked me if I thought it was down or up, I would say I thought it was up from like what I've seen in game. And
Well, like
that's kind of the like you
I
get like
saw
that bias in your
yeah.
head from playing.
Well, sure. I saw a video on Reddit, and it's like how good actually are, are these how good are the runes versus what public perception is, right?
Hmm.
And the public perceives that kleptomancy is really, 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 really good. But on certain champions like Ezreal, it is for some reason. Like Ezreal has a high win rate, but that's because Ezreal didn't really need klepto. It's just butter, right?
I agree. Like,
And Gangplank, on the other hand, with klepto, like he is better off running other shit. Gangplank has like a 50% win rate with klepto, like dead center 50%. And then towards the end of this patch, he crept up to 50.89.
And
You
see,
yeah,
know, it's like not super high win rate.
the way I look at it is that Klepto should be like Ezreal is strong in laning right now by himself. So if you didn't have runes or masters, you're still a decent laner. Gangplank, on the other hand, has always been a character that struggles in lane because he scales up to 6 items, right, and gets better throughout the game. So something like Kleptomancy isn't naturally good on him because it's not a actual rune that has like I don't know, stats associated with it, right? Like
Early power.
Grasp, yeah, Grasp has sustain with it, right? Thunder Lords or Electrocute, sorry, it has damage associated with it. Someone like Ezreal right now is doing fine without this rune, and then is gaining on top of his already decent laning phase. Whereas Gangplank, on the other hand, he's already has a weak laning phase, and then you're taking a rune that gives you no early game stats, so he's getting crushed with it, right? That's the problem with him, right? So, like, if we go back to the Ezreal thing, Ezreal himself needs nerfs, like such as the Q nerf, and then maybe we'll see Kleptomancy not even be popular on him because he can't survive laning phase with Klepto. And then I think after that we should decide if Klepto's good or not, right?
Right. I think Ezreal's an edge case. Is my point.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you guys are starting to sway my opinion because I think I've kind of fallen into the same trap that you were talking about, like public opinion and like playing against certain stuff. It feels like can feel bad, but that's such a small sample size. Like I had some games where a Gangplank got really huge, and I kind of attributed to, wow, look how much gold he got from Klepto, but maybe early game like he would have done better anyways and had a good game with like something else anyways. So
Well, I
maybe
mean,
Klepto wasn't the
well, yeah,
defining
like remember
factor.
towards the end of last season, before these runes were even a thing, a fed Gangplank will take over a game and one-shot everybody anyway.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And he still has like the bank plank. I blow up a barrel with my Q and I get extra money off all the minions. Like he still has that.
Yeah, I feel like it's so I don't mean to like be condescending to like lower elo players, but I feel like Kleptomancy is one of those things where it's harder to see why it's not why it shouldn't be as good, like in theory. Look at it as like, you know, Gathering Storm, the mastery where every 10 minutes you get like a more AD as the game goes on. When it's like 60 minutes you have like an extra like 130 AD or whatever. That rune is bad. It looks really good, and guess what? If the game goes to 60 minutes, you're like, what the fuck? That's gross, right? But the thing is, that character should be getting fucking smashed into the ground because they took that over something else, right? Same with Klepto. If Gangplank takes Klepto top, that top laner should smash him into the ground because he took Klepto and they took something else, right? But if he doesn't, then he's going to excel because he gets a fuckload of extra gold throughout the entire game, right? So, like, it's more like, oh shit, this person took Klepto, we have to take advantage of their weak early game. Whereas in Ezreal's case, Ezreal still doesn't have a weak early game because the character is OP himself.
Yeah,
like look at all the other Klepto users. Like, there's very few Klepto users in the game. Right now, there's Gangplank, Ezreal, Fiora, and some Yasuo players take it. If Yasuo takes smashed in lane, Fiora gets smashed in lane when she takes it, and Gangplank gets smashed in lane when he takes it.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more that Ezreal is an outlier, which means that it's probably more about his champion than about the actual mastery itself.
Even Nasus takes it sometimes, but like that even kills your early game as Nasus already has like a
Yeah,
terrible early game.
Yeah, and you're so squishy already with the new runes.
It just seems like you shouldn't win lane if you take Klepto.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like you shouldn't win lane if you do this. You shouldn't, you know. It's like you said with like not to be like, and I mean I would do it too. Like losing lane to someone who takes Klepto. It's like the person who takes Klepto doesn't always lose lane, so it becomes that much more oppressive if they have it and they win lane. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the mastery itself is overpowered. It just makes it snowball harder.
Like I feel, it seems like on a smaller case I just mentioned, like person who takes Gathering Storm, if they lose lane, what are the other ones in Gathering Storms, like Branch?
Oh man,
I don't. Scorch, which is the best mastery right now because it literally gives you early game dominance, right? Look, if you go to anyone who takes down sorcery, they take Scorch every single time, right? And then I can't remember the one on the left.
Okay, so it's Scorch, Water Walking, and Gathering Storm.
Yeah,
and Water Walking is
pretty shit.
Yeah, it's good only on like
some junglers
desperately need move speed, like Hecarim or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you take Gathering Storm, like you're completely at a disadvantage early game to someone who took Scorch, who can do an extra 30 damage every 20 seconds. But if you do get out of laning phase, your Gathering Storm gains more and more power as the game goes on, right? It's like Kleptomancy on a smaller scale.
Yeah. Because, I mean, with Klepto, you're giving up a keystone.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're all pretty much agreements on like the Ezreal nerfs and Kleptomancy. So I want to move on to there's one last patch update I want to talk about as the resident best Renekton player on the podcast.
I don't know if that's true anymore.
Well, 1v1, bro. But base stats of Renekton are up. Base attacks damage 66 to 69, and attack damage growth from 3.1 to 3.75. I think this is really underwhelming, to be honest.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's what,
I mean,
1880
since
or
I
is it
start-
1180 or 18?
Since I started playing Renekton support, I have noticed that he's weak in these areas. So these are welcome buffs for Renekton support.
I definitely.
Hey, Aiden.
I haven't.
Aiden, ask me when I started playing Renekton support.
When did you start playing Renekton support?
About 30 seconds ago when he said he was the best Renekton on the podcast.
I'm gonna have to get challenged for that title.
It's pretty minimal changes, honestly. I feel like it's more to compensate for lethality changes, which I think is actually important for us to talk about. So they nerfed lethality by 2 on every single item.
Did Renekton really build lethality?
It's the
I
only
build
one that's
lethality Renekton every game.
See,
I think it's really good. I think Renekton's OP.
See, I don't agree with that at all.
I haven't lost a game.
Oh, you haven't lost a game? You, one player, haven't lost a game? You must be right. I mean...
He loses to tanks, but he wins every fucking bruiser matchup.
See, but that's the problem. Maybe it's about who we're playing against, because I've played against so many tanks recently, and I feel like I'm losing every matchup matchups that I used to win before in lane, and like maybe
tanks are OP right now.
I know, that's the problem. It's like I feel like
don't pick him into tanks, don't pick him into Teemo. You're good.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he's very underwhelming to where he was last season.
What do you think made Renekton's counters harder?
It's literally tanks are OP right now because they can build resist.
What about tanks though made Renekton so much more difficult? Because he was always a mediocre matchup into tanks. What made tanks that much stronger?
The loss of the resistances.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Renekton, like, if you want to go, probably the best mastery on him is press the attack. But that means you're probably going to lose out on a lot of resistance from not going Resolve Tree. Well, that also means that when you go up against a tank, their base stats are going to, they still have decent base stats that do decent damage. So someone like a Maokai or Malphite that already played correctly could, like, handle Renekton pretty well because of their innate tankiness and their damage early. Like, now they're just doing even more damage to him, and I feel like it's even harder to kind of keep up with them in lane.
You really think press the attack is the best?
Mm-hmm. When you have full rage, you auto-proc it.
Yeah, with your W, you auto-proc it, and I've tried Electrocute. Electrocute isn't terrible if you're trying for, like, a lethality build that you just want to, like, burst people, but it's still not great. That's the problem right now, I feel with Renekton, is that
it's either grasp or press the attack.
Well, I was thinking Electrocute wouldn't be bad simply because you get sudden impact for the pen out of the E-dash in that ward, or in that deal.
So good.
And then you could go, like, let's say, Eyeball Collection and either Ravenous Hunter for Spell Vamp or Relentless Hunter for out of combat move speed. And that would be good. I mean, that would be a good series for him because it kind of makes like an assassin Renekton build.
Right. And like,
so I could see that being
a lot of these thoughts like I had when preseason was starting, and I was like so excited, and then it just like, I don't know, it's all been very underwhelming. I haven't like gone to a game and thought, oh my gosh, this is insane, or like I'm crushing anyone. And maybe I need to like put my head down and play some more Renekton games, and I'll get the hang of it. But
maybe you're washed up.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a washed up D5 player who's too big for his own shoes. But man, It is not. I've not had much success playing Renekton this
That's
season.
fucking cold.
That's my favorite thing to call
Maybe
people.
you're
Though.
just
It's so
yeah.
funny.
Maybe you just suck.
You know,
dicks.
I embrace
I don't
it
know.
because if I think I'm bad and then I play well, it's just you can only go up from there, right?
Yeah, and then once your self-esteem is recovered and you start to feel like you're good, then Aiden will knock you right back down, and it's good. It's
It's a
fine.
very
All I'm
odd
saying is-
relationship, but I embrace it.
Hey, I've got
all
an
I'm-
idea. You
What?
could run Klepto on him because he already has a strong early game.
You could just
Just like
completely
Ezreal.
negate that and make him have a shitty.
Yeah. But all the money.
I kind of want to try it
up.
just to see,
And
Maybe
literally none of the other inspiration things proc with him at all. So that'll be fun. You could work on biscuits, even though he doesn't have mana. Ooh, or Hex Flash. That thing's a piece of shit.
I think it's really good on Blitzcrank and Leona
Fuck
and Andy.
that. It takes 10 years to get
It was running
started.
on Andy and competitive. At
Mhm.
also,
Oh, okay. I could even almost see Annie and I could even almost see Blitzcrank.
yeah, the
That is
place.
just such a fucking it takes about 5 years longer to use. Oh, and by the way, the most frustrating deal. I was playing with Ernie and I was playing like Blitz or something, and he's like, "You should totally take Hex Flash." I was like, "All right, Ernie, I'll take fucking Hex Flash." And I was like, "How do I even fucking do this?" He's like, "Well, it's like Flash, but whenever your flash is down, you could just like Hex Flash on him out of a bush." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, all right, that seems fine. That's cool. That's a good idea." And literally every time that I would try to Hex Flash, something would put me into combat and reset the cooldown on it to 10 seconds. I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, see,
Or
the thing
I
with
didn't
that
know
is
that I had
sounds
to
like a
like
personal
Ernie's
error.
like, yeah, it's a channel. You just have to channel it. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna hit flash. It's gonna do like a droop, and then it's gonna go. Right? Like all other channel spells. Like Fiddlesticks ult, right?
right.
You hit R, you have your cursor over a spot, and then it'll birds everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Hex Flash isn't like that. You have to sit there and hold down the key for like 3 seconds before you can flash anywhere.
That is interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's just super difficult to use well. And it's like obnoxiously slow.
it's fun to troll around with, though.
Well, sure, but like there was one time Ernie like fucked up and used the blast plant and didn't let me into Baron, and I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's cool. I'll just use Hex Flash." But I couldn't, because then Baron hit me and it like put me into combat. And I was just standing on the outside of the pit for like 10 fucking seconds. I'm like, I fucking hate you, Hex Flash.
See, I feel like part of this we have to scroll back to what Aiden said earlier. Maybe you're just washed up player, and like maybe you just need to get better at like using these mechanics,
Well,
and it'll be
you know,
useful to you.
I feel as though you would have a good point if you yourself weren't a washed up player. And then two, no matter how good my mechanics are, it doesn't make Hex Flash activate any faster.
That is true.
So,
You have to believe hard enough.
Yeah, I forgot. It's like Christmas magic. If you believe, your stocking is full.
Yeah.
But if not, Hex Flash sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there you go. But anyway, all right. So we've talked about every champion that is probably even remotely interesting in this deal.
100%.
All the fighters got a bit of a buff. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, fighters needed it for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that had anything to do with like Hishinshin's rant?
I
I
hope
think he's right to some degree, but
I hope
I don't think it
not.
affected it.
I hope that Riot was already like seeing enough data that they were like, oh yeah, like fighters are kind of not doing great this patch. I hope that they're not taking patch advice from a salty. What is he? Is he ever challenger? Or has he only been master in High Diamond?
I mean, he fluctuates between D5 and Challenger very often.
D5 and challenger. Yeah. I as
Peaks and valleys.
like I can't talk too much shit because obviously he is a better player than me, but I would really rather not have Riot take advice from an emotional player like him because he's very emotional.
He also all the advice all the criticism he gives is beneficial to his playstyle. Like I've laid against the Shinshin a couple times, right? He's one of the better mechanical players, like during laning phase, right? It's just his macro is awful. So everything he likes in the game is fighting, early game stats, bruisers, whatever. So every single buff he wants is buffs towards bruisers. Every single nerf he wants is nerfs against tanks and tank items, right?
Well, to be fair, I'm kind of with them on that.
No, I completely agree. I'm just saying that it is very biased. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He
well,
only
sure.
plays
It is true, yet self-serving as fuck, and you can discount it for whatever percentage of self-serving as fuck you want to discount truth.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to his top plate, it's Jax, Irelia, Olaf, Kled. They're all AD melee bruisers.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, really different play styles, but it's definitely like he's just like if he had the reins, like if Riot took everything he said, it'd be like every other game you'd have a different champion nerfed or buffed because of who he's laning against and how he feels about the game. It's like he's very emotional and like the rants he goes on, like there's definitely some truth in there because he's a high level player and he has like he knows what he's talking about to a degree, but he just brings his emotions from like the games he just played into it way too much to ever have that be like, ah, yes, we should take every last thing he says into consideration.
I think I get what you're saying. He lacks objectivity on what is good or bad because while he is skilled, he is too emotionally vested in the outcome to be objective as to what is fair.
Yep. And I will admit, I'm the same way. I play Renekton. I love fighting early. Like, I'm probably really, like, probably the reason I can, like, see that in him is because I'm very similar. My ban list is very linear to what I played against recently and had a tough time dealing with. So don't give me control, right, on who to like nerf and buff because I'm the same way.
And do you think Alec has like a people I want to murder in real life list, like just sitting in his desk or something?
Yeah, adding Wise Papa Smurf to the top of it as we speak.
That's why I'm hiding in rural Missouri. It's all Alec.
Well, you just gave me too much information. It's over now.
Watch the stream, and if I blink twice, call for help.
All right. Well, I think we have talked in the patch. We've got some pretty good ideas out there. I think we.
By the way, just to double emphasize why I'm scared, Alec is sitting in the dark on his stream like a fucking serial killer.
I don't like
with light only on his face. And nothing in the rest of the room is all black. So you don't see the prison cells behind him with people in them screaming.
You know how like some streamers have like professional lighting, like O-lamps or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I like the idea that he just has like a flashlight attached to like the back of his monitor, just to, like on his like face.
He's got that like one bulb hanging from the ceiling on a string.
Yeah, actually, my flashlight that I have attached to my computer is on an arm that I can twist, so I can actually turn it so it comes underneath my face and up, so I can do those scary.
Tell spooky stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if it accidentally shines over your shoulder, you see all the decapitated animals in the background.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I just didn't want to clean up tonight, so like everything is dark behind, so you can't see any of the murder victims.
I'm just waiting for him to like scratch his nose and it leaves like a trail of blood or something. He's like, oh shit, oh no.
The lights are gonna come on and you go, Alec, what are those two bodies doing behind you? Only two? What the hell?
How the hell did they
The third one go?
Yeah.
Hang on, and then he just pulls out like a mallet and leaves the screen. It's like, Jesus Christ.
My murderous escapades aside, this week, not only do we want to talk about patch, we want to talk about a champion that we think is viable to pick up recently. He's not getting played much, and he has a good win rate. We want to talk about Taric. He's a beefcake. Everybody loves him, but nobody seems to play him. Yeah, shit Leona, and Leona just got nerfed, so maybe he's good Leona now.
I would think he's like anti-Leona.
Maybe
like
he's good Leona. Maybe Leona's shit Leona.
Yeah, you never know.
That's a good point. And I think Taric is great if you've got the stones to play him.
Ha! Ha! I see what you did there. I see what you did there. And I'm kind of not. I don't know how to respond. I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest.
Why is he good, Alec?
Taric is good because he he has a lot of crowd control with his E. Like I feel like his stun can be really oppressive in lane. If you're really good at aiming it, like using it off of your ADC as well, it's a pretty big area of stun. But also I feel like he dishes out more damage than people expect early game if he gets on top
Because
of
they
you.
overbuffed his Dazzle.
Well,
Yeah,
okay, so
It does 105 base damage. If you start at level 1, you bush cheese, you stun someone, hit them with Dazzle, double slap them with your passive, and you do like 200 damage to an 80 carry. Like, why does he have an ability that has 105 base damage and stuns for 1.25 seconds?
yeah, that's a lot.
That's crazy.
So here's the where Taric actually gets his damage, believe it or not, is not from the base damage of Dazzle. It's that every one of his abilities procs his passive and then lets him cycle back through his abilities again, proccing his passive all over again.
yep.
And in an extended fight, which every fight with Taric is an extended fight because he's tanky as fuck and he has heals and he has shields.
Hmm.
So it's really difficult to kind of outlast his staying power in lane. So, if you're going to murder somebody, you've got to murder them kind of through Taric, right? So he dazzles you. He hits you twice. He heals his ADC. He hits you twice. He uses his shield. He hits you twice. Oh, by the way, his cooldown's back up on dazzle again because he hits you. So then he can hit you twice more.
Yep.
And every time he gets off one of those deals, it lowers the cooldown on his heal, which means that him and his partner are just going to keep fighting. And that shit adds up to a lot of free damage.
Yeah.
So it's weird because it's kind of like he turns defense into offense, but he still has to hit you to do it. So it's kind of fair, but you've got to just be aware of that pattern and kite him. And if you kite him and you don't get stunned, you're probably okay.
Yeah, he can feel like he's really odd because he can feel really useless if you don't play his abilities correctly. That if you miss like one stun and you can't get onto them, you're just kind of standing there and you can mitigate some damage from your ADC, but you're really not doing a whole lot. But the second you hit that stun and you start cycling your abilities through auto attacks, it's like that, like you said, that damage adds up really fast and your passive is getting your abilities back up faster. I just he can really be oppressive and I think that people shy away from him because that like tandem with your ADC and skill shot stun that has like a uh it has that channel time on it. I feel like people shy away from that.
I think the reason that people shy away from so I really like Taric. I think he's a lot of fun to play. I think he's really strong. But I think his strength lies in coordinated teams. I think in solo queue, he's really not that good. And the reason I think this is because while I was playing up through Plat, and Plat should be a reasonable estimate of people who are pretty decent at the game, right? I mean, you're in the top 8% of the player base. That should be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I have shielded somebody and then the ult animation comes and it's floating down onto their head and they run away from a fight while they're invincible and waste my ult. And then we all die. Because like half the team it'll end up splitting your team because the people that are supposed to fight because they're invincible run, and then the people who have a free opportunity to deal damage run because their teammates are running, and then I just end up buying everybody a couple of seconds where we all run and don't take damage for a little bit.
Right. So it's only
And so
getting partial usefulness out of your ult instead of
you're getting like no usefulness out of your ult. Like,
Yeah.
here's the comparison ult. Zillion or Kale, right?
Hmm.
Zillion or Kale, their ult is almost always effective. Because Zillion's like, I recognize X person is going to die, and I'm going to cause that not to happen. And if they survive, like on their own, and they make it out and they escape, fine, right? Like that's fine. But if they do die, then through no fault, they have no way to fuck that up. They just get back up, right?
Hmm.
And I can do it instantly.
Yep.
So if they got away, it's because I misread the situation and I fucked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Kale, oh my god, you're about to take a lot of damage. Instant invincibility,
Yep.
right? I have mitigated that effect for one person and that instantaneously, and that's very powerful.
Hmm.
With Taric, it's okay, guys, if everybody's paying attention in 1.5 fucking seconds, we're gonna be ready to go. And then
Yep.
everyone's like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. And then they run and nothing happens.
Yep.
Right?
Mhm.
Because I mean, while the visual animation is incredibly obvious if you're paying attention at all, people get so afraid that they're going to die in the next second and a half that they either disengage altogether from the fight or they just disengage and keep going. Like, well, I'm out. Right?
Hmm.
That was a problem all the way up to Diamond.
Yeah,
And
I
even
agree.
in Diamond, it was a problem.
Yeah.
And so given that, you have to be able to have people on comms where you're going to be like, Taric ult coming down, turn and fight now,
Yep.
right? And then it's really game-breakingly good, which is why towards the end of the season, you saw it played. Like, it saw play on a professional level,
Yeah.
and it turned games.
Hmm.
Because particularly if you can get a 5-man Taric ult and your whole team just turns and burns, holy shit, that is devastating. The other team, they can do nothing. Like, it
Yeah.
just forces flight,
Yeah.
right?
And if you waste any ultimates in that time as the other team, you're completely screwed.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not powerful. I'm saying the problem is that power isn't in your hands because of the 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, it can be very hard. I will say, I will say I'm kind of limited in my Taric play, but it was the part that was the hardest for me to start getting down was timing that ultimate and not doing oh shit, this person's dying, like start it up, and then they'd be dead before it even comes down. And it's
Mm.
like, okay, I just used that, like I tried to use it like a kill all, and now it didn't do anything. Where it should be like it's kind of like the preemptive Shen. You know, you ult someone who wants to dive into their backline so they can get the extra shielding and get a Shen into the backline. You want to ult your team so that they can take the initiative forward without having any worry about the retaliation from the other team.
Ooh, I think I can summarize my point in one sentence.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Okay. Taric ult suffers from the problem that you can fuck it up and your team can fuck it up.
Mm,
So if you cast it improperly, like what you were just saying, you can fuck it up. If you cast it properly and your team runs anyway, they can fuck it up, even if it's perfectly cast.
yeah, higher percentage to fuck it up.
Yep. And that percentage is only half in your control.
Hmm.
And that's the only thing that drives me insane about Taric. Other than that, Taric is an amazingly good champion.
Yeah, so let's talk about he got a buff to his heal. I feel like that was pretty big for him too because I feel like part of the reason, like the thing that can counter a melee support is getting poked out by some of the like Nami, Sona kind of champions, and I feel like that heal has helped mitigate that weakness in his laning phase.
What was the buff?
It was the amount of charges he could hold, if I remember correctly. He
It's up
got
to 5 now.
Yeah, and obviously holding more charges, you have more heals up. That helps your laning phase, and you don't get poked out as much, which is very much a problem for champions like Alistar and blitzcrank, stuff like that can get in trouble with like getting kited or by these poke supports.
Hmm. I mean, I think the only time that I really see his heal come into play is like with his passive, honestly, where you just like slap a turret twice, heal, slap a turret twice, heal, slap a turret twice, or a Baron. You know what I mean? Baron's the grossest one, where your entire team's on you at Baron, and you're just AOE healing everyone for 30 every second.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah. Like I said, the funny thing is, like, the heals themselves aren't even that impressive. You know what I mean? Like, you don't heal with Taric and you're like, God damn, that's a heal. You know what I mean? It's the fact that it's reset so quickly by your passive that's like the thing. Oh, by the way, a drawback to playing Taric in that way, where you just like Rise style throw out spells and auto attacks and spells and auto attacks and spells, and he does run out of mana.
Yeah, he goes pretty quick if you're not
Yeah.
conscious.
That is a thing that happens, so careful.
That's why you only build 6 Frozen Hearts.
Well, are you stack Transcendence?
That synergizes with
Get
his
that
Bastion
bonus
too, because
damage?
they get 20% of your armor, right?
Yes, perfect.
So
He
if
has
you
a
build,
shitload of armor scalings, actually. He really
but dude, 20%. If you have 400 armor, dude, and you put Bastion on your AD carry, they get 100 armor.
Yeah, so that's another big thing is talking about
does. Aiden, are you starting that segment early that's like bad advice that sounds reasonable?
All I'm saying, dude,
Is
800,
that,
build
'cause that was
800
a
armor.
test segment. That's in beta. We don't need to drop that in the real podcast right
Dude,
now.
you
It's
build
not
800
ready.
armor, AD carry has 200 extra armor.
Perfect.
Oh,
All I'm
if you
saying.
build 800, right?
Yeah. You build
Wow.
8,000 armor, your AD carry has 2,000 extra armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what we're saying is just only build thorn mails, and
Mhm.
all you need is just armor. Nothing else. Nothing else at all.
Good armor scaling. Build
Even
it.
against the full AP team.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Fuck
yeah.
AP. So, and then if you have all thorn mails, if you have all 6 thorn mails, if they auto attack you once, they're gonna take the full amount in damage back to themselves, right? Those totally
Of
stack.
one thorn mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bad advice that sounds real. Part 1. We'll see how this goes.
Well, I
Anybody, if
mean-
you like the segment Bad Advice That Sounds Real, please write into the podcast and we'll do some more of them that are actually like more pre-planned and comical.
See, the thornmail thing you could actually pass off though, because back in the day there was that stacking full sunfire capes where it was like ticking for way too much damage. So that's something you could get away with telling people was true.
Did you know that people used to go Eve so you'd be permanently invisible and they would just never attack and follow people around till the sunburn would kill them?
I did not play during that time, but I did see videos of it and it looked quite lame.
Oh god, that would piss me off so bad. Like that's the kind of thing that makes you just not want to play a game at all.
Yeah, something that has 0 counterplay.
Yep.
Usually pretty bad to play against.
But all right, so do we have anything else we want to add on Taric?
He has cool skins.
Hey, by the way, Taric, I know there's like a lot of things that Taric is gay, right? Because Armor of the
Loves
15th or
Ezreal.
whatever. Yeah, like how he loves Ezreal and all that. But whenever they retconned the lore, they just kind of said, "Well, Taric loves like all things, right? He just
Especially
is a
Ezreal.
lover, right?" But everybody had said that he's like League's first openly gay champion. I don't know that that's true anymore with the
Loves
Varus lore
Ezreal.
change.
Yeah, Varus is kind of muddying the waters.
Because I think Varus is actually now the first openly gay champion. Because Taric isn't actually openly gay; it's just assumed a lot.
Yeah.
You don't know that Varus is gay.
Did you not read his lore?
Yeah, they could just
The
be
new
really
lore?
close friends.
All right.
No, it's like my heart song or whatever the fuck
Hey,
they call
dude,
each other.
I love my friends just as much as you love your mother.
There's
Yeah,
about
no, I love-
5 Social Justice Warriors just furiously typing away on our iTunes reviews right now, getting ready to tear you down, Aiden.
Yeah, I was at court today and I saw my buddy Rick there, And instead of saying like, "Hey, Rick, my good friend," I was like, "Hey, how's my heart song Rick doing? Come over here, and let's make out like friends."
Hey man, don't paint people into boxes.
Well,
Is all I'm saying.
there was an article recently. I forget what website it was or what like news outlet, but they did a study that there are many males in college who claim that their friendships they cuddle and kiss each other often in their friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that was not my experience, personally.
You don't have to be ashamed of it.
Yeah, man, it's all right. Look, it wasn't my deal either, but I didn't judge those who needed a little cuddle.
Like,
I'll finish off my friend if he needs it.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Dude,
you
why
guys
don't
when
you
I
guys
go to
hear
the
Heart
next
Song
frat
Hayden
party.
about that?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all hard songs here.
You know, I feel like the next time if I go to a frat party, it's just gonna be a bunch of guys cuddling on the couch.
More like a fat party, if you know what I'm saying.
So you've been to frat parties before?
I have been to frat parties, yes.
It was like they cuddle on the couch, then they go out and cuddle on the trampoline.
And talk about their feelings, you
Yeah, and then
know.
they do some slip and slides, and then they cuddle
Yeah.
some more at the bottom of the slip and slide because it's only natural. You're already
Yeah.
wet.
You know, I feel like this is a great topic considering we're on episode 169. This is just really coming together. Really
You
nice.
know,
What's your
like-
favorite Taric skin?
Is it even a contest? It's gotta be the oh my
green
gosh.
one?
No, get out of here. I can't think of the name of it now.
The most boring
What's
one
the
there.
name of the pink skin?
Armor of the Fifth Age.
Armor of the Fifth Age.
You just like it because it has fifth age and reminds you of. Never mind.
Reminds you of your heart
I
song.
think you're going too far with that one. I like, listen, we're all for gay jokes here, but Roy Moore is not welcome, alright?
Just because he's at the.
Wait. What happened to you as a child?
We don't need to open up any of these doors here, alright?
My family went to Birmingham on a vacation. I was wearing Daisy Dukes because they lost my luggage. And I met Roy Moore, and he said, "Hey, Alec's mom, you look tired. Let me watch Alec for a while in this bathroom over here."
We can go to
I
the
didn't
mall.
think anything of it.
He was of the fifth age.
He was a charming senator prospect that had been kicked off the Supreme Court. If that's not trustworthy.
He told me this is what taxes were. That's why he told me that's why adults hate taxes so much.
How much do you think that editors have to cut out?
A lot.
Oh, all of
A lot. This is gonna
Diddle
be
a kid
bad.
here, diddle a kid there. You know.
All in a day's work of a senator.
But yeah, no, I thought it was kind of weird that they retconned Varys to be like the cream in a three-way gay Oreo.
They're just
No,
bros.
No, those other guys are on like either side of him. He's in the middle. He has contact with both of them. They don't have contact with each other. He's the cream in the Oreo, man.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's just weird. He's like in a spiritual
It's just
Oreo.
weird. It's just weird. Varys
Okay,
is
three
sexuality
people
is just
inhabiting
weird.
one body is objectively weird, regardless of sexual orientation.
Maybe there's something
Objectively,
Aiden
that
needs to
is
tell
weird.
us.
Hmm?
Just,
That
I feel like maybe Aiden has three voices in his head, and he feels like this isn't that weird of a thing that someone else does.
All I'm saying, dude, is let people be themselves.
I have no problem with his sexuality. It's just like
Sure,
said,
man,
it's
that's
just
what-
it's just kind of retconned out of nowhere. It's like you
You
know
like
what?
the fifth age Taric. You're not a fan of the multiple boys inside of a boy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're sending mixed signals. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's just not gonna fly in California, Alec.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I would say this though. While I think that the choose your own pronoun thing is generically kind of ridiculous, I think in Varex's case, he can pick whatever pronoun he wants. There's so much shit going on there that you just tell me what to do with that, and I'll say it. It's fine.
Well, at least some
Alright.
of it's gonna be cut. That's fine. That's where we wrap.
Yeah, with that, I think we had a good discussion about the patch. We had a good discussion about Taric's abilities. We got a little off track with some of his sexuality choices, but
We lost the last 10 minutes. Of the
you know,
podcast.
we do. Let's head on to announcements. We don't really have much for you guys today. Just come out to the Discord. You know, we do community games every Wednesday. We did them last night. Two hosts who happen to be on the podcast right now did not come out. But myself and Sam did shoutcast them. We had a really good time. So definitely, we do them
So
8
what you're
CST.
telling me is you had enough people.
We could have had more though. We could have had more, Blake.
Dude, I looked at the Discord and there was like 100 people in here, and I was like, that's 100 too many people for me.
100 might be stretching it, but we had a lot of people. It was a
We
good
had like
time.
13. It was
Yeah.
lit.
Yeah, 13, 100. What's the difference?
My thought was,
no.
hey, I have
87.
real life friends I'm supposed to play with tonight. I forgot it was Wednesday. And then I
It's
did
Wednesday, my dude.
Wait. Real life friends? What?
that. Yeah, I've got them. Well, okay,
What?
well, here's the thing. I had like 5 of my tightest heart songs to play with.
Your bros.
And I was like, hey, you guys, my heart songs.
We gotta do
Play
some
some
cuddling
games.
tonight.
Hey, after this, you guys want to do some heavy petting? And they were like, yeah, let's do that. I was like, cool.
Also, if you guys don't, so if that has now scared you away, and Blake has scarred you for life with what he just said, and you don't want to come out to talk in our Discord and play community games with us, we have a Facebook group, and there's been a lot of good discussion in there, and sometimes when we have questions for the podcast, we post them in there, and maybe your question can get featured on the show. So go ahead and join the Facebook group, League of Legends Anonymous Podcast. We have some good talks in there. It's a good time. But I think with that, episode 169 is a wrap. We are going to be signing out here today. You guys have anything to say before we head out?
I'm disappointed with your actions and the way that you behaved yourself on this show.
I
I'm going to report you to our manager.
We have a
You're gonna
manager?
get paid off.
I do have to say the second take of the intro was
Almost perfect. You messed
Yeah.
up the title of the show, but other than that, it's
It's alright, we'll just edit it, right? That's not my job editing, so I'll just say we'll edit anything that was bad, and then that won't be on me,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, it's
That's how it
League of
works.
Legends Trinity Podcast Force cast.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, that's
Well,
what
I
it is.
actually had it in my head, right? I was gonna say it's League of Legends Force Cast.
That's pretty
Then
good.
then I fucked up all of it and added in the wrong parts of each one. We call that pulling an Alec.
Damn it. Already got
So-
something named after me after one host. But I think that wraps up the show nicely. Thank you guys for coming on, and have a good night, everybody.
Oh, that's my
Bye.
thing. No, you can't do that. That's my thing.
You just did it, though. He's the host.